Oye, mi gente, you know who this is. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. This is the next installment of Nah. I'm just gonna talk. That's my dude, Wolf Blitzer. I absolutely love Wolf Blitzer. That's my favorite newscaster in the world. He is dope. He is fly. He just got swag for an OG. You know what I mean? So, anyway, I want to talk about my frustrations with the mental health care system. And it's like, I'm asking myself, am I getting quality mental health care? And I know other people out there are feeling the same way. The frustration is, you go in, you speak with, particularly, I'll start with the doctors. You get 15 or 20 minutes. And as I, shared with you, I don't do psychotropic medication after all of the nightmare experiences I've had with it. So my main thing is therapy, one-on-one psychotherapy, group therapies, and alternative therapies, and my spirituality and other, things. And it's really helping. It takes at least some of the edge off, so I'm functional most days. Although it's a struggle, just as it is a struggle for even people that are doing the combination of medication and therapies. But it's really frustrating when you go in and you see, the psych doc, and this dude or lady, depending on what it is, they've got every bit of 15 minutes or maybe 20 minutes to talk to you. How in the world can you give a proper, diagnosis and really get a full scope of what a person is experiencing in just a few minutes? My initial time with the first with the psych doc at the new place that I'm attending, the new center, I had an hour, and we still didn't cover everything, and it gave me some preliminary diagnosis. They were close, but if we had enough time, he would have really gotten everything accurately the first time. And as I told you, I encountered a pure asshole at this place. A licensed clinical professional counselor who was poorly trained, who was so entrenched in his own ego versus trying to get where I was coming from and listen to me. I never seen anybody insult the patient, or the client, but I already talked about that, so I'm going to not dwell on him. What I want to talk about is the ludicrousy in the short amount of time, that you're given. And it's really just terrible because without the proper, mental health diagnosis, you're not going to get the proper treatment, if the proper treatment is even available for you at the place that you're going. And that's going to depend on the staff. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But it took like a second appointment with this guy for me to, say, hey, doc, listen, I didn't tell you because we didn't get a chance, the rest of the things I got going on. Then when he heard it, he said, oh, yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. So, yeah, it should be schizoaffective. However, there are additional things. And as I told the supervising therapist in a group therapy session a couple days ago, she's pretty cool. I said, I'm very confident I have other mental health diagnoses that haven't even been touched yet because I've never had a therapist to really go there, to really, completely take the time and just really hear and let me fully express myself. I've been through so many different types of abuse and all kinds of shit in my life that, it made my last therapist weep. She actually broke down and started crying, and she'd been doing therapy for over 20 years. And actually, when I tried to revisit those issues, she wound up changing the subject. So, of course, she was uncomfortable. That made me uncomfortable, and we never went there. So, I'm working with a new therapist, and as I told you guys, she told me she's never dealt with anybody on a clinical basis that had a mental health diagnosis. She'd only done grief counseling. However, she seems very good. She seems very engaged. And I said, I'm going to Need you to pull out everything that you learned in school to deal with me. So my thing is, I'm gonna deal with her, for at least for the next several months, and then probably switch over to a clinical psychologist, which is the highest that you can get in therapy. To see what kind of progress we make. And actually, I go see her tomorrow, but I feel good about what she's providing. But like I said, I've got so many different things. It's like I just really, really need that experience, and I know also that some people will say that the relationship is very important. It is very important because you could have a clinical psychologist, you know, and have no relationship with the person, and you're not gonna get anything done. So it is about relationship. I think it's about relationship and also about experience and all the other supporting factors. But it's just really frustrating to, know that, even with insurance, that sometimes the care seems substandard. So it's like, how much worse is it for people that don't have any insurance and they're just getting really shitty service and basically no service and being rushed out the door? And then if your issues aren't dealt with, they're going to come up. They're going to come up in other ways, and a lot of times those ways can be negative because you don't know how to process, you don't know how to deal with them and stuff like that. So it's just really sad. We just really need an overhaul to our mental health care system, and to these, shitty staff members out there. Man, if you don't want to do the fucking job, go into another profession. Don't come to work, and say you're going to provide therapy. You're sitting there bored to death. You're looking at your phone, low key, you know what I mean? And rushing the client and and you don't really give a fuck what they're saying, or you're being nasty or snotty or rude as hell. I have just seen the gambit, and none of these things are helpful. You just there to get a check. You know what I'm saying? I've seen that kind of behavior and rudeness and nastiness. And then, like I said, the discrimination that a high functioning person with a mental disability has, you know, oh man, that's classic. Don't come in knowledgeable, about your diagnosis, and you're trying to engage, respectfully and hold a conversation and ask questions. Then these sons of bitches think that you're challenging them. Some of them, not all, but some of them. I've had that experience as well, even just recently. And it just feels awful. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? You're trying to have a meaningful conversation. It's like they feel because you have a mental health diagnosis, mental disability, psychiatric condition, that you're a complete ass and you don't know anything. I have a background in mental health. So I know some things. I'm not saying I'm at the level of a therapist or anything like that. I don't profess that or try to be or whatever. I definitely go and listen and do what I'm supposed to do in therapy and in group. But therapists and mental health professionals don't feel that because your client is asking you a question or because they got some information or they've studied. Hell, how would we be doing a service to ourselves if we didn't study up on our condition, if we didn't have something to discuss? It's supposed to be a partnership. We're supposed to be engaging and talking and conversing, and dealing with the issues. It seems to me that it would make it a little bit easier, in some regards or whatever, if the clients, if they knew something about, their diagnoses, so that you're not sitting there trying to explain every single little thing. At least we know what you're basically saying and where you're coming from. But it's just, man, it's frustrating when you guys do that to us. Just get that shit together. It's completely aggravating. And again, I know I'm not the only person that has experienced that or is experiencing that frustration with the healthcare. Sometimes I've gotten so frustrated with it, I'm like, what's the point of even going? That's what I was feeling as I first got to the new place that I am, with the level of resistance that the intake therapist was giving me. I'm just trying to have a conversation and ask questions, and this ass was taking everything personal, like me knowing things and asking questions was against his knowledge as a professional is just ridiculous. But I'm working through it. I'm going to continue. I'm determined. Like I say, I have to work extra hard because I can't take those psych meds. And I know people that do take them, that do well on them. And I also know those that have awful side effects, or maybe not awful side effects, but side effects that are bearable. And so now they have to do medication to counter them. But, I have to really rely on, you know, alternative therapies and, my spirituality and just doing all that I can to be well. And sometimes it's really difficult, like I said, when you live with a thought disorder and a mood disorder, because the way I feel, man, can change. It can really change in a short space of time. It doesn't take, in some instances, anything large to throw me off into a horrible depression where I'm feeling like suicidal, you know what I mean? Or even just to get down and get so out of it, I don't even have any energy to get out of the bed or go outside or do anything. I had a really good job some years ago and I got so depressed I didn't even go. I regret that. But I think I'm kind of rambling right now, or whatever. But what I'm saying is that when you have a mental health diagnosis, and especially if you look fine and you articulate, you get a lot of times such a pushback from people because they feel that nothing's wrong with you, and that's not the case. It's like it takes everything sometimes for me to function, and I'm just going to continue to do my work to get better and improve all the areas of my life and try to regain back as much. You know what? Forget that. I'm not going to say regain. I'm building a new life because I think basically what I had, that I may never get those things again, but I'm determined to build a new life based on who I am today, and I'm working hard toward that goal. And I want to encourage you to do the same out there. You know, I know this video is going into 12 minutes, but I want to say this. A lot of times, because of our mental health diagnoses, it may cause us, as in my case, to lose relationships, jobs, family, cars, apartments, everything. I've lost almost everything I ever had, and it's only over the last few years that I've been slowly getting things back. Man, I miss driving, I miss friends, I miss being social and relationships, and all of the different things. I had so many different things, and my mental health diagnosis caused me to lose the majority of them. I should have my degrees and everything by now, but I'm determined to rebuild, and build something new. It may not, I think that for some of us, the new life we're going for, it doesn't have to look like whatever it was that we had before. I think we can go on and build something new based on who we are today, where we are today, So don't get down with that, and just hang on in there. Sometimes, it gets bad and you may feel down, like you just, say, forget it, don't want to be here. But suicide is not the answer. Just hold on. It's possible. Si se puede. All right, peace. Much love. Experiences I've had with it. So my main thing is therapy, one-on-one psychotherapy, group therapies, and alternative therapies. You know, and my spirituality and other, things. And it. Oh yeah, mi gente, you know who this is. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. This is the next installment of Nah. I want to talk about my frustrations with the mental health care system. And it's like I'm asking myself, am I getting quality mental health care? And I know other people out there are feeling the same way. The frustration is, you go in. I'm just gonna talk. That's my dude, Wolf Blitzer. I absolutely love Wolf Blitzer. That's my favorite newscaster in the world. He is dope. He is fly. He just got swag for an OG. You know what I mean? So anyway, you speak with particularly. I'll start with the doctors. You get 15 or 20 minutes, and as I shared with you, I don't do psychotropic medication after all of the nightmare experiences.